You tell somebody that you have a ghost, they think you're nuts. In the beginning, there were small incidents that you could kind of brush off, but over time, they got very undeniable, and a wealth of it was occurring. When you hear the noises that it is making, it clearly is opening, shutting, or knocking into something. Picked up multiple voices, conversations. You can ask questions, you'll get relevant answers.
Are you Brad's guardian angel?
The dust looks like flurries, kind of moving uncontrollably, whereas the orbs, well, they move with intent. When you see it scale along the wall from ceiling to floor and literally circle the room and then come up off to where you can actually make out shoulders and almost a head on it. The stuff that occurs in here is just abnormal. This isn't a place you get to show weakness.
There's definitely something there. That would be my professional opinion.
Are you demonic? Because I see images of you on the camera. Some of y'all don't look friendly, and I know there's a shit ton of y'all in here.
This will not beat me, and I think it knows that, so I think its next goal is to just slowly wear me down. I think there's a lot of paranormal groups out there, and their biggest goal is evidence, 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 and they all talk about how they want to help. Being in this situation, you know, I wholeheartedly believe that I brought people in that would be able to help from that aspect.
This is our third time here, and we keep coming back because we have found evidence. There is something here, and we want to know what it is as well as Brad does.
We try and debunk it, but then once you get to a point where there's no explanation, then you're left with the unknown. And it's still considered all theory, so you're not, you know, there's no explanation. And I still got a power.
I'm more of a skeptic. I have to have the evidence to prove what's going on. I'm not going to take it at face value.
You want to rule out anything normal, and then what you're left with is paranormal.
So it's in the center of the room. It doesn't seem to be going either direction. It's just like hovering.
One hovering 6 foot radius, probably 5 foot radius, right?
It's almost like it's like an opening right here.
The first thing we do is we do baseline readings. We check temperatures, we check EMF, just to see if the closer you get to anything electrical, our EMF is going to read. So we want to know where the hot spots are, so to speak.
We use scientific equipment. We check the air temperature, the air quality for contamination, the humidity. We record the data and then we review it later to try to connect the dots. Because if you've got a image that you find or a sound that you hear, if you can coincide that with, you know, pressure drops, pressure spikes, it connects the dots. So you can, you know, kind of validate that information.
I have no doubt in my mind that I was meant to sign a lease on this place to expose it. I don't think a lot of people can endure what is happening here. When I started talking about this stuff, I just saw like the instant pull back. You know, people kind of look at you like you're crazy or insane. So the reality is, you sit in this shit every day, and you don't say a word, that's what drives you nuts. So you can only sweep so much shit under a rug until that rug gets hard to walk over, and you trip over it, and all that shit comes spilling out.
What's your name? Did you say Satan?
This place was vacant, obviously, when I got it. But they initially told me that it was vacant for 3 years. But after I signed the lease and I went and had the electric and water turned over, they just told me it was 7 years and 2 months. Essential Vapors and CBD, basically, I consider us harm reduction. We assist people who wish to quit smoking or those that already made the choice to do so. Why does a retail space in the center of Lexington sit vacant for that long? So I know some of the businesses that were here before, but did everybody fail here and go out of business? Or did they leave because of something?
I didn't really feel anything when I first walked into the store. I could feel like something was watching me, and in fact, I'm having chills right now in the store. So I know that there's something here that wants to communicate, and more than one spirit. There's multiple here. This place made a believer out of me.
Oh, shit.
I am using the K2 to detect if there's any EMF or electromagnetic field in this room. And it's going off up to the yellow, which is pretty significant. It signifies that some kind of energy presence is emitting that EMF. Now, what that energy source is, we don't know. That's what we're trying to determine. So my thinking was that there's a portal in this room. If that is the case, it would explain a lot of the different voices that we're picking up on recorders, because you think of it like a highway that spirits can travel along. And so there could be more than one coming through if it is a portal. I've been on this team for 9 years, and I have never seen EMF to this degree in the middle of a room.
Brad has let us view his cameras live, and we've seen some things that we hopefully can capture or debunk with our own cameras.
Video is one of the odd things. You don't get a lot of video at times. You always want video because, you know, that's pretty concrete.
We're getting a lot of, especially on Brad's cameras, we're getting a lot of what would look like orbs. And a lot of orbs are not orbs, they're dust flying through the air. If you're outside, they're moisture. But we have a team member who has a piece of equipment called an eddy, and it has a capability of measuring like the air quality and dust particles in the air, and no readings were found on that. So that makes those orbs more interesting that are in the videos.
More things happen here than other places. I've caught voices on my recorder that I can't explain. There are male and females, but you can tell the differences.
What's your name? What's the name of the woman that said my name? Brad.
So I think it's up to 8 or 9 that have actually said my name or used it in the sentence.
I'm a member of a local team based in Lexington called Southern Roads Paranormal Investigators. So we've been around about 10 years or so.
I think the only thing I got was there was an Indian trail that used to run like right in front of the store. And it was like a famous path for the Native Americans way back when. Brad showed me some stuff, says I'm having these experiences. So to give him some validity that what he's experiencing here can be captured by more than one person, or more than one piece of equipment at a time. Is that you?
Is that you?
Nah, I don't think so.
That's not us back here.
I'm standing next to it.
Can you light that up again?
The fuck was that? That was really fucking weird.
You didn't touch it?
I didn't touch it at all.
This is how close you would have it, man.
Yeah, no, I was over here.
Yeah, I saw
And
that.
it was like a good couple of seconds,
Yeah.
too.
Can you do that again, please? You see it didn't harm me, it didn't harm you before.
Ever since about 1991 or so, I've been teaching a course called Sociology of the Paranormal. And there we take a look at all kinds of different paranormal claims, how to investigate them, how to approach them scientifically and skeptically, and also how people affect one another's beliefs in these various claims. I don't tell people what to believe. I just give them critical thinking tools to approach these things themselves and show them lots of examples of investigations. And that's one of the reasons that people who feel like they're being scientific when they investigate these phenomena, because they're using electromagnetic frequency meters, or they're using infrared lighting and cameras, or heat sensitive cameras. Well, none of those things really make sense unless you know what it is you're looking for. Instead, what they're doing is measuring lots of different things and then going back after the fact and drawing bullseyes around the arrows. They're piecing together bits of ambiguous information and trying to paint a picture of something that almost certainly isn't there. The shop owner that I spoke to didn't find this fun at all. He's pretty agitated about it. He would rather have not experienced it at all. If someone were to try to discredit him or say that he was crazy or foolish, they'd be dismissing a third of the country as being foolish. So I don't think that's it at all. I think he's very bright, and I'm actually really impressed with his business acumen and what he's been able to accomplish with his small business. I would never close the door on the possibility of some kind of spirit or some kind of soul that is separate from our bodies. So right now, I don't think the evidence really points to there being something separate from what we create with our own minds. And our own minds, to me, are way more fascinating than a kind of simplistic answer that we have a soul, whatever that is. So that's I find that a lot more interesting as an approach, and also a lot more potential to learn from it.
I started at the age of 19. I went doing live sound, working with some stars like Stevie Ray Vaughan, Elton John, Madonna, Michael Jackson. I had the privilege of mixing Ray Charles. So basically, I take a file that may have a noise floor, which is a lot of static or things behind what you're actually trying to pull out. And then I use digital process and some plugins that I've designed to actually scrape away all that and hopefully pull out something that is usable. I was skeptical at first, as anyone normally would be. When I found the first item and it popped out, the hair stood up on the back of my neck, because I've done some things similar to this, but not to the degree that there was something solid there.
Can you finish this?
I've been in the security business for 10 years. Mostly security. We do a lot of surveillance. It's mostly residential, but some light commercial, like this type of store would be a great prospect for me. The most common issues with cameras are going to be the loss of power to the camera itself, or connection problems, that kind of thing. This is the first one I've run into that has issues where you're actually seeing things that may or may not actually be there.
Heating and air conditioning is based around psychrometrics. You can't get around that because psychrometrics deal with air changes and being able to explain how the air is moving in a building. But I'm seeing exactly what I thought I would have saw up here. It's just a normal building envelope. So one of the things that I did pick up on the thermal imaging camera was on the returns. I could see where there's dust there. I can see it did pick up some black spots there that just lets me know there's some heat that's being trapped up in that area. Dust particles, they're measured in microns. There's some microns that our eyes can't see, some microns some cameras can't see. When you get those high sensitivity cameras, they can start to pick up those dust particles. Some of them should be falling down to the ground, but because of the weight and density of them, some of them don't. They'll just float around in the air. Even after a unit's been shut off, that does not stop anything from moving. I did not see anything that was abnormal when it comes to any heat that's penetrating through the walls, anything that's standing still. I can't explain why. I can only just give the logical, or try to give you an illogical explanation of what may happen when it comes to HVAC. So in all honesty, things like this, I'm not able to explain that as far as when it comes to HVAC. I have not seen particles behave in that manner. That looks like it was on a pre-followed trail or something there. The particles that I saw moving faster than others, to be honest, I can't explain that. And then the trails of smoke there, I'm not sure about what would cause that.
Like I said, the small flying insects, but I just don't. It still doesn't make sense. It's everything's neat and clean in here. It's not like we're at a roast motel or something like that. It's you got me. I really don't know what to tell you.
But my first opinion would be that something or somebody is caught like in a dimension that's showing up in our dimension. As far-fetched as that sounds, the audio don't lie.
Most recently, it was the Bible incident, when the Bible got knocked off the desk with force. First, it was more like shock with the Bible incident, because that's 3 feet away from where I sit every day. And I looked, and that was the only night that Bible ever sat particularly on my desk. This really isn't the culmination of anything. This is really the beginning of telling the story. It's either fight or flight. So I stayed. Actually expanded. We opened a second location. Now we're getting ready to do a third. So for me, it's just about pushing forward and not getting derailed. I don't know how this ends because I don't see it ending. So basically, I just want to see what more we can get out of it, try and get some understanding on the situation. If this just went away, didn't occur anymore, it would probably leave me, honestly, a little bit sad. I'd be a little off about it because I would miss that challenge. So to go up against something like this every day and be able to not just survive it, but thrive in that atmosphere, that's me.
If God give me breath for 20 more years, I see myself changing the world. So I would have to change the world, or I have to be changed by the world.
Own it. Yo, you just own it. Cause your body's on fire. Show me how to control it. And go ahead, you different.
Yeah, I know the real motherfuckers feel. I smoke a blunt, freak the fuckers, this jealous motherfuckers kill me. I'm out the gutter, pick a hero. I'm 165 and staying out till I die. My competition zero, cause I can give a fuck about you. You better duck. Go off before to hit your ass up. I give a fuck, I'm sick inside my mind. Why they sweat me? It's gonna take an army full of crooked ass cops to come and get me. Niggas know I ain't the one to sleep on. I'm under pressure, gotta sleep with my feet. And extra clips beside my dresser. Word to God, I've been ready to die. Since I was grown, I don't want no shit. But niggas tripping, yo, it's on. Open fire on my adversaries. Don't even worry, better have on the best. Ain't for the chest, then you bury. It's a man's world. Niggas get played, another stray. Hope I live to see another day. Hey, I'm keeping sweating bodies undercovers. Who can I trust? Got my mama stressing, thinking it's a drug bust. Gotta get paid with all the drama that's attached. We're living the drug life, thug life. These they could be my last. Well, I blast when it's time to shoot 'em. Don't even ask, that's the consequences when you're living bad. 6 bricks and tricks for my niggas. I gotta come up and recoup. You keep the dope, bring me 6 figures. Is it a bust? I hear the sirens, run for cover. Over the fence and open fire. Running out of gas, time to park it. Nowhere to go with the lights out. Rolling down the dirt road. Running out of gas, time to park it. I'm on foot, we in the hood. How the fuck they gon' catch a crook? Running out of gas, time to park it. Nowhere to go with the lights out. Rolling down the dirt road. Running out of gas, time to park it. I'm on foot, we in the